Good morning and welcome to another edition of Inside Liberia. This morning, we will be looking at the state of affairs in the Republic of Liberia. We're going to be discussing the COP or COP and the CDC COP militant group. We're going to be discussing this morning Honorable Yeke's Kolubah statement. We're going to be discussing also the future of the nation Liberia. I want you to do me a favor, share the broadcast this morning, and I'm going to be your host this morning, Patience, and I have with me in studio Anthony Jensen and Ty UB Garnett. I want to say welcome this morning and welcome to Inside Liberia. Welcome,
Thank
Jensen.
you.
And before we start, I just want to give them the opportunity to say a word or two, and then we begin our discussion. Ty, you are welcome. I want to start with you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Patience. And let me say good morning to all of you. But as much as possible, it's good to be on to discuss the forward march of Liberia. In my understanding, only Liberians can build Liberia. So we too must be able to address issues affecting the growth and development of this country. It is our plan and our understanding that if we must see Liberia move forward, we must have
Oh, well, I know Ty is like a little bit stuck on his internet is fluctuating. So while we await his return, I want to go to Anthony Jensen. Good morning.
Well, good morning, patient, and good morning to everybody. This is the period in Liberia that we consider as very crucial when it comes to looking at 2023 elections. Many a times when people are gearing up for elections, a lot of stuff happen. Particularly so for Liberia, there's a lot of things that has happened. Talking about disappearances, deaths. Situation that for accountability is of concern. And so we're talking about this COP, CDC COP, and Representative Kolubah's yesterday press conference regarding his desire to also have what he described as his own militant group. It's just important that we look at what Liberia, the laws of Liberia provides, and what will happen with all these situations. So again, I'm glad to be here, and let's see how we can make an impact in discussing the state of affairs of that country.
Thank you, Jensen. This morning we want to start with the logo. Ty, you are welcome. You went off, and so we
yeah, I went off. I had to do small adjustments, please.
Okay, so you want to conclude your opening statement before we move forward?
Yeah, to conclude my opening statement, I would love to say to Liberians that let us stop using the statement, leave them, let them do what they want to do. The hard time that Liberians believe in themselves and start the process of remaking Liberia. Only Liberians, as I said earlier on, can make Liberia a better country. So we won't stop talking. We won't stop checkmating our leaders. We won't stop conscientizing the people. We won't stop serving as watchdogs in society. But it is important that as Liberians listening, they should also learn from what we say to them. You have your inalienable right, your inherent right, and those rights are unhindered. And you have the right at any point in time, once there is an election during period, to cast your secret ballot. That is a blank check. So that is your right. Do not be denied of such right once you've reached the adult suffrage of Liberians. So it's good that we are on this morning to highlight those issues that you talked about earlier on. They are of security concerns, and I think Liberians need to understand from our own independent analysis. So it's good to be on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. To our viewers out there, I want you to know that this broadcast is not a partisan uh, shape or whatever it is. Uh, it is about the future of Liberia, and everyone is concerned because there have been enormous sacrifices and financial commitment made to the peace process in Liberia. And so, whatever triggered the peace, you know, it's the concern of everyone. Even if you are not in Liberia, you have family, you have relatives, you have people that you are connected to in that nation. So it is a concern, and it should be the concern of everyone that have a connection to Liberia. So I want to say this morning, I'll stay tuned, and we continue this discussion. The first thing here, I see the logo. We want to start from the foundation because we are talking about the CDC CoP, which is a militant group of the CDC. So this is the logo. As you can see, they said they are Council of Patriots. That's the name, and the tagline over there is to protect the state. Protect the state. So if you have that kind of tagline, your tagline indicates, what you are all about. So my question here this morning to Anthony Jensen, if they are coming with this tagline that they are there to protect the state, and by virtue of uh, the things that we are looking at, the things that we are seeing, are they, you know, it means that they are already implementing, or they are doing exactly as the third land state or suppose, not really doing, but suppose they suppose they are doing what the tagline state. Now, is it legal for a militant group, or political affiliated militant group, to say they are protecting the state? Is it legal? If so, so what is the function of the law enforcement in Liberia?
That's a very good question, patient. But let me state here clearly that this is wrong. There's nowhere in the Republic of Liberia that a government that is elected should have its party creating a militant group. Now, just the logo, you look at it, I have not been so keen on this kind of photo, but the logo to say protect the state, a militant group, there are state apparatus. Before George Weah, there was a country called Liberia. In that country called Liberia, there are structures established, and those structures have purposes, for which, if you come to power, like you have the National Army, you have the Liberian National Police, you have the NSA, you have the Executive Marshal Security Force, or whatever you call them. So all of these structures are intended to protect the president, government officials, and citizens of the country. Before you create something called CDC, Council of Patriots, it should have been legislated. Is it legislated? No, because I'm very sure no legislator would have given such power to such group. The first will be asking, but we do have security apparatus all around the place. Do we need a patriot? In my understanding, this is totally wrong. And the fact that George Weah and his group plan, Liberians themselves should blame themselves to a larger extent. When we saw young people being recruited and taken on the beach for training, and after that put khaki on them, that was the beginning of all of this trouble that we're having today.
Exactly.
So
I
we
want
did
you,
not.
yeah, before you conclude your thought, I just want you to have a look at who they are.
Thank you for that photo. And this is what we say. So Liberians sat down, and George Weah, I just feel sometimes it's difficult to say those things, because to be a president is not to sit and probably go, there are many responsibilities. The primary function for a government is to protect the people and ensure that their happiness are met. So you see this, you see these folks, see this in Militant. Now you see the logo, protect the state. Then you get the Liberian flag, all in red, meaning then that they will be protecting Liberia from the corner, from the level breadth of the corners of the country. Then we ask ourselves, where is the national police? You saw them demonstrating. You saw a policeman standing there just recently, laughing about these things. So the policeman himself, probably he's afraid of those folks. Now, you tell me you go to election with these folks in khaki, and you tell me, say, somebody will lose election, or maybe they're just going to deploy them all around the place. To do what? To create havoc. And let me say this. We could run into a serious problem even after the election. When the leader is supposed to take action, he fails to take action. The International Criminal Court, there are provisions in there that hold leaders responsible. So nobody should forget this thing. Besides the local laws, even after his tenure, if he's not careful, he could give account. He could be held responsible for the numerous unaccountable deaths for this kind of a situation. Not just him, but even those security apparatus. You cannot be a justice minister to sit and see those things happening. You don't advise the government. You cannot be a police director. You know you have responsibility, because people become so much sycophantic and they don't want to speak the truth to power.
Okay,
I cannot be a police director and see some kind of a group call themselves Militant and be allowed in this kind of a form of faction. I will either resign for you to run your Militant, or you give me the opportunity to run a country, to run a security apparatus. So this situation, they are harmful. They should be stopped. And I think this action recently should speak to, and I like the way everybody's speaking now, because people feel that to be silent is the best thing to do in a democratic society. You can't be silent to allow the people to die.
We'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. Ta, in addition to what Anthony Jensen had said, what do you think? Because I saw video of the law enforcement officer at the scene. The video is all over Facebook at the scene. And in fact, he was smiling. I want to know the reason why he was smiling and not trying to call for backup and help so they can be able to contain the situation. Is it because they are working in partnership with Militant? Because if this is your partner and they are protecting the state, and the law enforcement too is protecting the state, it means they are in partnership. What do you think?
Well, honestly, from my just opinion, I may not agree that they are in partnership. I cannot substantiate that to any form, but they are humans. Though they are security apparatus, but they are humans.
Okay, we got tired talk again, so we continue. Anthony Jensen, this Council
has also
go ahead.
Has also been able to alarm this to Liberians that the security needs to be looked at critically. We should not forget, however, that we just got back from 14 years of civil unrest. Liberia is a war-torn country. The Ellen Johnson Sedi-Blair government was heavily guided and protected by OMIL that left Liberia ending their mandate. And security responsibilities were turned over to security apparatus in Liberia. So honestly, according to Anthony Jensen, I may agree with him to some extent that what started earlier on that was not put a halt to is now spreading and is creating a wildfire. Let's be honest, before the insurgence of the Malam Sedi-led government, or the inception, so to speak, we had the Liberian National Police. We had the Special Security Service. But it was by an act of legislation.
Exactly.
The Liberian National Police had sprinted support units with the likes of the PSU, the Police Support Unit, with the likes of the EROU, the Emergency Response Units. Those segments of the LNP were legislated. To have the name change from the SSS to the EPS, it had to go through legislation. And so having people forming sprinter groups, Erin needed security because Liberia just came from crisis. Erin needed policemen to hold gun in their hands. because Liberia needed security. But all of this couldn't have been done without moving through the due process of law, and that is through legislation. Our constitution makes it clear. If we look at Article 11 of the revised 1986 Constitution of Liberia, Article 11A states clearly that all persons are born equally free and independent and have certain natural, inherent, and inalienable rights, among which are the right of enjoying and defending life and liberty, of pursuing and maintaining the security of the person. And this Article 11A makes it clear that it is incumbent upon the government of Liberia to protect the life and liberty of our citizens. Unfortunately, what we saw from the inception of this government, they subscribe to militancy. It's nothing to mince war about. They subscribe to militancy, and what happened at the just ended senatorial by-election in Lofa County can speak volume. That when these young men and women get in their regalia, you are fighting. And to some extent, they move about causing chaos because they always fear they have the mandate of the people. So it's against this backdrop now that on yesterday we were shocked as Liberians and those across the world when a legislator came up understanding the law that governs this country, which is the organic law, the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, to come up on yesterday. Before moving forward, let me remind those following of this quote from America's former president and the first black president of America, Barack Hussein Obama. During his first inaugural speech, he said to Americans that America has not carried on simply because of those in high offices, but because we, the people, have remained truthful to our founding documents. And that is to say that the law is the law. And so if we should see a lawmaker coming up, it means that they are he's following suit.
We will get there. I like what you said. We're being truthful to the founding document. Are we being truthful here? But we'll get there. I want to go back to the incident that took place, which brought about all the discussion.
Yes, you're talking about the CDC.
Yeah, let me upload a photo so we can see the
CDC COP.
The CDC COP emblem and the tagline tells us they are protecting the state. So, if the riots is going on,
a patient, can you put that picture back? The guy whose mouth is tied.
Okay, all right. It reminds me of the war,
Not this guy.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
I was looking at this photo very keenly, and I asked myself, where is this guy right now? He's not the same person who got
who
was Mali Hendo.
He's not.
So here's this guy. There's a need for state security to find out where is this man's whereabouts, because anything will happen.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody emphasis on the fellow who was being Mali Hendo.
Yeah.
But this guy, his whereabouts need to be known, and his condition need to be known. So those who follow it, even state security people who may listen to us, is important. This fellow, the way in which he's being tied, is like somebody who, some part of the Middle East that they're treating people. We've been seeing a lot of photos online. So if this is happening
it's not even Middle East. This is how they treated people during 1990. They call it taboo.
Right. This is beyond the taboo, because to tie someone like this, that's enslavement. All right, and I think people are not paying attention on this fellow, but this fellow whereabouts need to be known. And I'm calling on the Liberia National Police to do all they can. They should not just be thinking about that fellow who was gruesomely handled, but this is another person that we also need to. And I think there's a need for even an entire investigation. The Liberia National Police should be more involved in finding out what has happened, instead of just saying, people when they may get away, go sue and all that kind of stuff. It makes no sense for anybody.
If they are waiting for him to get well and go sue, so what's the function of the law enforcement officer when things are happening and things go wrong? They're supposed to arrest people. because the person broke the law. You're supposed to go around arresting whoever stand in the way of
And
peace.
the thing is simple. There are a lot of people over there, their faces, there's video all around. So you should not be asking questions. You saw people committing crime. The Liberia National Police, the Justice Ministry should not be making, offensive statement out there. They should do all they can, arrest these people. If there's an investigation shows that these people should be prosecuted, they prosecute them. And that will send a signal out there. It should, in fact, the whole militant thing, the Justice Ministry should oppose this kind of a grouping. Most of the Serena Force, they are aware that under a civilized government, you're not supposed to have the kind of situation going on. So they need to stop all of these things right now. They could be held responsible too. The Justice Minister could be held responsible. The Serena Force, the police director, these people, if they were recruited and paid by the Liberian people's resources, they must do the honorable thing to make sure that they control the security apparatus in the Republic of Liberia, so that this kind of situation cannot be occurring. It's not a good image for the country to see this kind of situation going on.
Certainly.
You are watching to a radio, and this is Inside Liberia. On screen, we have one of the victims of the incident that took place a couple of days ago. We are looking at the tagline on the logo of the Council of Patriarchs, which states they are protecting the state. So in protecting the state, is this how you protect the state? By tying people up and brutalizing them? There's a question I need answers to. There are a lot of questions that I want to ask here this morning that I have no answer to. And gradually, and as time progresses, I believe we're going to be asking the question, protecting the state. So in this instant where you tie the person up, even law enforcement officer, you are not expected to tie people up and put something in a mouth.
In the garbage, see the run, the young fellow.
You are not allowed to do that, because the rights of the person is also involved. You can arrest them, handcuff them, and take them to wherever. Now you have this guy arrested and tied up, and he mouth everything sealed up, and in a corner. I don't know whether it's their own private prison. We want to know where he is right now, and we want to know how he's faring. So is this a situation where they have become the lawyer, they have become the judge, and they have passed a sentence on the person? Is that how you protect the state? Too many questions.
Another thing we'll ask patient, just quickly, somebody is paying those folks. The CDC militant that are being recruited, quote unquote, to protect the state, someone is paying them. If it is state resources, all of those senior officials of government must take cognizance that they are responsible for their acts. The RCC, the Geneva Convention and the International Criminal Court, people must be aware that they can be held accountable for crimes. So if they set in that they use state resources to sponsor these folks and they commit this crime and they think they cannot be punished, they must be aware that there will come a day they will not be in office. And those things could haunt them. So let them be aware. Let them do the honorable thing right now and disarm these people and take the khaki out of them, bring those khaki and make these people. You want to recruit them? The police is there, like Taz said, the Liberian National Police, they get units.
Exactly.
Those who want to join the police, they want to be security persons, train them and put them in the National Police. You want to make them SSS, those are the statutory institutions, recruit them from those points.
Yeah.
When you put a state uniform on them, that is much better. But the primary reason you will do this thing is for these people to be given some extra judicial power to do the kind of nonsense that they're doing. And I think it should be stopped.
Liberians out there and abroad, we just want to sound this warning. The peace in Liberia is still fragile. And during Madam Ellen Sirleaf administration, you had ECOMOG to not ECOMOG but ONMIL to continue any thing that could spring up and destabilize the whole peace process. Now we have nothing like that here, and in a place where people keep having this kind of situation, of course you're going to have or other reaction. People are going to react in the same way they receive, the other reaction. So it is necessary for caution to be taken. Liberians, you need to open your eyes and you need to speak out against the ills. And people, there should be an end to this Council of Patriarchs. If the peace process of Liberia should continue, there should be an end. That's my suggestion, because if every political party will organize their own Council of Patriarchs,
right,
then we are heading towards chaos. People look at this situation as, we can curtail this situation, and it's just one of those things that will pass away. It is not one of those things that will pass away, because when you keep wounding people and you keep doing all kinds of evil to people, people will get fed up and will rise up, regardless of the consequences attached to it. So we need to be very, very cautious here. Ty, you wanted to say something before we go to our next
Yes, honestly, I'm bewildered seeing a young Liberian, not just a young Liberian, but a promising future leader, a student, being treated in such a form and manner. It is disheartening. I don't think this is a good sign for Liberia. I can recall during the tenure of Eugene Falcon, then as Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, there was a Sergio June 7 protest, one of the largest peaceful gathering of Liberians in post-war Liberia, and Eugene Falcon promised that he will take a counter-protest towards the SKD. And just because of that statement, the American embassy issued a statement immediately that it was not in the best interest of democracy, because Article 17 gives Liberians the right to gather peaceably and petition their leaders when their safety so required.
Exactly.
These were not kids that were taking the streets. They were not causing traffic. They converged at a particular locale. I can also recall during the January 6th protest, I took that protest live on the radio from the protest ground up Capitol Hill. And the only warning and caveat that was signed by the current Police Inspector General, Honorable Patrick Sulu, was that no one should counter protest, gave Liberians a chance to go about and petition their leaders. So the action of the COP prior to the action on Independence Day, they had earlier on held a press conference expressing their intent. If anyone should converge on the Independence Day at that juncture, it should have been a time for the Solicitor General, the Minister of Justice, the Liberian National Police collectively to bring a stop to that. But that didn't happen. I don't know why they sat down tight-lipped, but that didn't happen. Now, this incident occurred right in the face of Americans. And up to current, we've not received an official statement from the U.S. Embassy, unlike what was done when Eugene Falcon's statement released of counter-protest. But what rings bell to my mind is that silence means consent. And so I think the U.S. Embassy has been taken aback. They are shocked, and we expect a statement from Ambassador McCarthy in the not too distant future, but I hope that statement comes out soon, because I know that it was a serious dissatisfaction from the part of those visitors, diplomats, dignitaries that had their own time to visit the American embassy on that wonderful Independence Day morning. But instead of action,
let me say this, Todd. The American embassy, Ambassador McCarthy, these people do not take these things very lightly. Okay, it happened right. In fact, this is where the government and even the COP, quote unquote, militant, is like people who don't even know how government function. The diplomatic enclave of the United States Embassy is not a place to go and brutalize people. Because trust me, these people will come up with a report. And by the time they come up with a report at the time, the government, maybe team look like low quiet, the government will start to defend herself, or she'll start to be embarrassed. All right? While it is true that you and I will be thinking, say, there should be some quick press release from the U.S. Embassy, but I'm very sure these people will definitely put, there's a report on this issue.
Of course, you
All
can
right.
have
Probably
all
the
these
timing,
things going on the
again,
internet and
they are
nothing.
diplomat. All right. So they just probably they're having different level of discussion on this matter. But before then those who sitting in the environment, Benson Street, and the entire Morovia, what I said, there's an issue that politicians started speaking already, which is good. But people felt before silent is the best way out. And people who do those things are people who want jobs, who feel that tomorrow, or maybe tomorrow, job we are will win second 10. So maybe you give me some joy if I keep talking right now.
Okay,
Like people who never went to school to depend on their mind, on their understanding what they can do, but rather waiting for somebody to be silent and people give them job. When
thank you.
a single life that this young man, I don't know the man for anywhere, but any civilized person to see the young man, you should feel for him. Because it could be your child, it could be your relative, it could be somebody of yours tomorrow, someone that you love could be your friend tomorrow.
Thank you. We don't know his name. We don't know the name of this young man, but whoever affiliated with him, I mean, you can do us the
Right.
favor
Post the name somewhere.
texting us the name or sending his name or and telling us, how he's faring, because we really, really want to know who he is and where is he and if he can
The obligation is on the country, the state, the Justice Ministry, police director. The obligation is on them to find this man whereabouts. This man relative who know any problem about this man, they should be able. They should call a press conference, say something, call the media, and tell them the condition of this fellow.
Yeah,
people have disappeared before. Nobody know their whereabouts, so anything will happen. So it's better than this is an obligation on the state. Now, any other person, the state should know where this man whereabouts.
Not only him, but there are other people that were involved. You see this young man also. You see this one, and and the most famous photo now on the internet.
This is right in Morocco. So imagine if this was outside of the country.
Yeah, where you don't have,
where you don't have, maybe you have one or two police people then. Morocco, you have police officers, you have all the equipment in there. You're supposed to call people immediately when that kind of thing happening. Police have been into demonstration, arresting people. Why? Where were they?
I know.
That's the biggest question.
We go back to the militant group. There's a CDC militant group. And now I want to go back. I want to take you to our press conference yesterday. There was a press conference held by the Honorable Representative Yeke Kolubah. And in that press statement, he said that he's organizing his people to protect his people. Let me quote him. He said, "We will protect our people. The opposition, we are getting ready to protect our people." And then he said again in a same interview, "We are coming to start training our men to protect the people of this country, because we know the police have become a private security to this president." That was a statement yesterday during his press conference. Now, having seen this, and he said this legally, Jensen, what's the implication?
Honestly, I don't support that, and I think Yeke probably he's been annoyed at any other person looking at what he's doing, but it doesn't give him right. Also, Yeke has no right to recruit private citizens for purposes of security. Legislators, politicians, they are all supposed to be protected by the government of Liberia. Chapter 1, Article 1 of the Liberian Constitution is clearly provided. The security of the state is the primary responsibility of the government. So for him to be talking about recruiting people because police have failed to protect the state is as equal as to this issue we're discussing. If Yeka goes about recruiting people and putting maybe what he call giving them barrett like this, I saw that press conference yesterday, right? I saw him displaying barrett and jacket and all of those stuff. You recruit these people, Liberia is becoming chaotic. No lawmaker should even be talking about recruiting people. Lawmakers should be talking about citing people. Call the justice minister, call the police director, and tell them, say what is happening in this country. Not for him. to be talking about, forming his own group. I think that's a fundamental error on his part, and I think he should desist from that. He can form a political group. There's nothing of political grouping and all of those stuff. You can form an accelerate to do political rallying and all of those stuff. But to talk about recruiting militant or persons of security minded and think about how you can protect yourself and protect other people is also the same chaos that he also inviting. And I think Liberia should also kick against that.
He said that he's going to be teaching them taekwondo, like karate.
Well, you want to open a karate school, that one there, he has all right that business, karate and all of those things. You want to do that one there, that's part of it. All I'm saying, his wordings, he should be minded, he should be guarded. You cannot be talking about, there are serious phrases, words that people should not use. If you do those things, then it sends a wrong signal. You want to open a karate school and train your people and whatever, that one they can go do your business. Go and do your registration and get business, your article incorporation. You can go open a karate school. But to be talking about militant activities and protecting yourself, no, that is wrong. Don't think about that. If you think about what you call it, recruiting young people for security purpose, that should not be a Yeke's role. Yeke is a lawmaker. He should be talking about making laws.
Thank you, Jensen.
Oversight and oversight responsibility of the security apparatus.
Let me hear from Tar Ubigane. What do you think concerning the honorable man's statement?
I think there are photos that are already posted with his entire Wikipedia account.
It's too late for me to upload to the broadcast right now.
But it is quite unfortunate, because lawmakers, they are there to make laws, to have oversight responsibility, and to represent the people. Representation is to put forward the cry of those constituents that you represent, those that elected you. And I want to remind Liberians that always go around lawmakers begging them. They are your employees. Know this today, Liberians. They are your employees. You gave them job. More importantly, you pay them with your taxpayers' money. So they are subject to you at every point in time. And there are provisions in our constitution that guide the workings of lawmakers. Article 34B makes it clear. It did not say a legislator. It says the legislature shall have the power to provide security and defend the state. So if you know that there are security implications that needs to be addressed in the soonest possible time, take it to plenary. Call the Committee on Defense and Security and see as to how you guys can amalgamate forces and move on with our legislation that will find an improved security sector of Liberia. That is how it should be done. But for single-handedly and announced to the public that he will train people to protect his people, who are the people he's protecting, or who are those he's wanting to protect? These are the higher questions. What will be their approach? Like what happened? Those guys were armless. They didn't have arms. They were unarmed. They suppressed, but yet still they were brutalized. So what if you form another military group or militancy brigade or what have you, and there is a clash? You care to understand where Liberia goes next? It is scaring, it is troubling, particularly at a crucial political role. And I think it is hard time that the Justice Ministry take a strong action to reduce these forms of militancy and brigades from various political parties ahead of this much anticipated 2023 presidential and general elections. If this doesn't happen, I smell chaos, and I think it will not be in the best interest of our country. We must protect this fragile peace. One of Liberia's former orators said these words, and I quote, Dr. Dukba Christian. He says, having peace is far better than living in a skyscraper, unquote. And those were the exact words of Dr. Dukba Christian when he served as orator on one of Liberia's Independence Day observance. And I think we should hold that word strong. I think we should believe that Liberians can protect Liberia, but through the proper means as per legislation and by authorization.
Thank you, Tar. Thank you. Okay, we continue
Those
with
guys, every point in time, you find those guys every point in time tying red hair tie, holding machetes in their hands. The Justice Minister instructed the Liberia National Police to put a hot operation. But now, in their own faces, they are now seeing people from the ruling establishment involved in such act, but they are tight-lipped. So the Ministry of Justice should not serve as a toothless bulldog. They should come out strong and work according to the law as enshrined in
okay, Tide's talk over there.
our
Yeah.
Constitution. And the panel.
Okay, Jency.
So I think the Justice Ministry needs to stand up tall.
Okay, so where what can you say concerning the future of Liberia if we continue in this trend? Because we see CDC militant group, courts protecting the state on court, and then we see Mr. Kolubah, Honorable Kolubah, also want to protect his people because I mean, if you're not getting protection from the law enforcement, we saw in plain daylight a law enforcement officer that was just looking, and in fact, he was smiling as if to say, my people doing the thing that I expect them to do. I mean, it was so disgusting to me. You know, you can't be law enforcement officer, that kind of thing going on. You should be so serious because the gravity of the situation. So what do you think is the future of Liberia if we continue in this trend?
Patient, Liberia has, the Constitution is the guide, the laws of the Republic. If everybody will decide to respect the laws, if people are appointed into positions and begin to take their position very seriously on the basis of what they know and what their duties are, without fear of failure, they are performing those duties, Liberia can get better. Legislators, for example, Kolubah and all other representatives, if they are serious about the state of affairs, what is happening, they can open an investigation at the level of the national legislature, meaning their oversight responsibility. They can begin to question the Liberia National Police, the Justice Ministry, and all other security apparatus. This is the best time that they should even begin to look at the security apparatus ahead of elections. So the future of Liberia is on the basis of those who are governing. Now, if you don't do these things, the people, you might take it for a joke, but if people are dying, no accountability, no serious investigation, no report, a lot could happen. Like you said, it's like you're pushing someone towards the sea. And the person knows, no, I can't, when I fall in the sea, I'm going to die. So anything I can do, I have to bounce back. But that is not justification. And this is why you have all of these state institutions. The courts are there. The executive marshal, if the executive marshal is not doing her job, the legislator should be checking on the executive marshal. Like that, Liberia will have a better future.
Okay,
but
thank you.
People are legislators and want to act like executive officers. You want to be defending the executive branch of government instead of providing complete oversight. Then
so in other words, if the peace were to be broken, it means we need to hold the legislature responsible.
They all should be responsible because they have a role to play. They all should be responsible in this kind of situation.
Quickly.
Like they have just a minute, patient. You have a committee on security or national security or something like that. There are committees for all of these state institutions. So if the security issue is going on around the country and those committee members are not even keen, they're not calling on those authorities or asking questions, you must only discussing things just to create a lie. Some of the things we're talking right now, it should be a caution to all of them. Legislators, they have oversight. If they see the kind of thing, they have CDC people preparing young men and women, putting uniform on them, and they are responding. They know that the statute doesn't allow these people to do these things, and they keep quiet. Anything happens, they should hold themselves. They are also accountable to the people of Liberia and the international.
Okay, quickly, we want to close. We got something else going right after this. Ty, will you want to give your closing remark just in 30 seconds or 1 minute? Ty is frozen. We'll come back to Ty. Jensen, your closing
Yeah,
remarks.
again, in the closing, I would say Liberia can be better. And the way it can be better is for people to respect their duties and responsibility. Both state security officials and even the national legislature, even the president of Liberia, George Weah. You are the president at this time. You have when these things happen, I don't know who told George Weah to be quiet is the best thing in governance. That's a very serious mistake on his part. The president's voice is the most powerful voice in the country. Even a statement, a short statement, it has a major impact or make an impact in the kind of situation. But it's like he acquiesced to these things and he's aware this formation of these people, he knows about them, so he doesn't speak. And those are all wrong things that he's doing. So in closing, national legislators, they should be checking on the executive branch of government. In the kind of situation, there must be public hearing as to what is going on in the security apparatus. And for Kolubah, that's not the way. Maybe he's so angry, but your anger and your words you're expressing, they are two different things. So we think he himself should not be thinking about creating an group.
Thank you.
Towards the COP or whatever CDC Militant.
Thank you. Okay, we want to say thank you for joining us this morning. In closing, the fragile peace of Liberia is of concern to everyone that is attached to Liberia. Welcome, Tal. You want to give your closing statement just in a minute?
Yes, just in the jiffy, I'll be through with that because, as you said rightly, there is something right after this. But as much as possible, I want Liberians to revert to Article 3 of our revised 1986 Constitution. We should not forget, however, that Liberia is a unitary sovereign state, divided into counties for administrative purposes. The form of government in Liberia is a republican form of government, and it has three separate coordinate branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Consistent with the principles of the separation of powers and also for checks and balances, no person holding office in one of these branches shall
Yeah, we a little bit frozen. Okay, we are rounding up, and this is Inside Liberia, and we're talking about the state of affairs as it concerns Liberia. We took into consideration things that are happening, the 26th demonstration that took place, and the press statement or the press conference, which were called by the Honorable Yeke Kolubah, and the future of this nation. We want to say thank you for joining us today. We also want you to know that the future of this nation lies in the hands of everyone in Liberia and even those that are outside Liberia. So the lawmakers are there and they should do the job properly. We want to see the chairman or the chairperson that is responsible for security. We want to see him call a press conference and address this situation.
Right.
We want to see or we want to hear what the police director have to say as it concerns this situation. We want to hear that those that were involved, that were beating and brutalizing people, maybe if others were not there, they would have killed. Who knows? Or who know whether there was some secret killing that went on that we have not heard about. But whatever the case may be, we want to know what is happening to those people, especially the pictures that we display here. Like, take, for example, this young man. We want to know what his state is. We don't know his name, but he was also part of this whole fracas that took place. So we also want to know. There are a lot of questions that Liberians are asking. Even if the government tried to sweep this under a carpet, that would be the wrong trend. That would be the wrong thing to do, to sweep such a situation under the rug a thing that is going to fade and is going to go away and nothing is going to be done, that's the saddest mistake anyone can make, because the problems still remain unsolved. And those very same problems will come to haunt you a couple of days or week or years ahead. So there should be a solution, and there is always a solution to whatever situation you are facing. So I believe we are all looking for a peaceful Liberia. We want to keep that peace. And I want to say thank you for joining us this morning. And this has been a presentation by the African Actions Network. And this is the program Inside Liberia. So until then, please join us again for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless.